Okay, so but now we are going to go back into the tax return process. Okay, so we took you to the main website. We said request a membership. That will send us a little email. You'll put in your name and your email address. We will click the little approve button. You'll get a notice back saying you're approved. Here is where we start. All right, so on our page, we have a tax process overview. And we've broken it down into 3 main steps and then some sub-steps under there. So the first step is to get organized, right? We're going to confirm your residency, determine if you have to file a return, get your income documents, and then confirm that you're in scope. So confirming your residency. All right, we have a sample return. So this is Lisa. So Lisa is an F1 student from China. She is single. Her birthday was January 1st, 2000. She came here on August 8th of 2019. She went home last summer, or 2 summers ago. She's lived off campus for all of 2021. It qualifies as an abode, so it does have cooking, bathing, and sleeping facilities. She worked on campus here in 2021. She filed tax returns last year with us. So she filed a 1040 NR. She got some refund money back. She filed her Minnesota return and she had to pay some extra money in tax. She is here studying accounting and her ISSS contact is Tracy Senti. All right, so we're going to start with doing her return. So we're going to go to Am I a Non-Resident Alien? So this is our main NRVTAP website page. You go to tax assistance under useful tools and links. Here are our tools. Am I a non-resident alien? So for 2021, Lisa, she is an F1 student. She came here August 8th, 2019. And she left, I'm gonna approximate the dates. She left on May 20th, 2020. She came back 8/25/2020, and she's been here ever since. There we go. All right, and we're going to check her status. And she is a non-resident alien. So she was here for 365 days in 2021. She was here for 270 days in 2020, and then 146 in 2019. And we're going to need those days for her tax return. But the good news is we don't need to do any math. We've done it for us, 2020. Okay. All right, so we have completed her first step. We know that she is now a non-resident alien. Does she need to file a tax return? Well, remember what we said. Does she have any US income? She worked on campus. So we say, yes, she does need to file a tax return. Her next step is going to be to gather her income documents. And this is where I'm going to turn it over to Blaine to give us a little bit of information about the U of M and their income documents. Blaine?
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Blaine Bloomgren, and I'm from Payroll Services, and I'm just here to give you guys a few reminders on a few of the tax documents that you may be receiving or have already received. So we'll be sending out 1042s this year. The mailing deadline is March 15th. If you do not receive your form by March 24th, you can request a duplicate copy by contacting the OHR Contact Center. 1042s are generally sent out for individuals who have received scholarship, fellowship payments, and employment income under a tax treaty. We've already sent out W-2s, and they are also available in MyU, and W-2s are generally sent out for employment income only. Our W-2s and 1042s, the W-2s are available in MyU, however, the 1042s are not. They are mailed to your home address that you have on file in MyU. And then for any questions that you have regarding your W-2s and 1042s, if you are expecting one and you haven't received it, if you need to request a duplicate copy, those can be directed to our OHR Contact Center. and they will be able to assist.
Okay, thank you, Blaine. So we are going to pretend that it is a month from now and Lisa has her documents. She has received a 1042-S from the University of Minnesota. It's got an income code of 20 and gross income of $5,000, which as a tax expert I know is because she is a resident of China and she gets to earn $5,000 as a student and not have to pay any tax on it. She also received a W-2. So she had $8,400 of income and some additional tax taken out. All right, so she has her income documents now. So she next needs to confirm that her return is in scope. And this is our statement of scope. And so we would look through this list to make sure none of these apply. She's definitely not over the income limit, not a resident, only was in Minnesota, doesn't have anything else in here, no prior year returns, no cryptocurrency, nothing like that. So Lisa is in scope for us. So she is going to be able to prepare a return with us. All right, her next step is going to be to determine her treaty benefits. So we are going to go to do that right now here. All right, so just like we had that, we need to do her treaty benefits. Okay, so she is an F1 student. She is from China. She is a non-resident alien. She did not get any dividends. She did not have any sales of stock. We check her treaty benefits and it says, all right, she has a treaty benefit for scholarships. No limit on the money, no limit on the years. This is a fabulous treaty. And the treaty article is 20B. So if she had to put it in her tax return, she'd need that information. Likewise, she gets a benefit for wage income during studying and training. Her maximum dollar amount is $5,000, no limit on the years, and the treaty article is 20C. All right, now we're going to enter her income documents to see if everything matches. So she received a 1042-S, income code 20, and it was for $5,000. She also has a W-2. There's no income code, it's just a W-2, and that was for $8,400. And now let's see if her treaty benefits match, and they do. So here are her two income documents. So her total income for the year was $13,400. And it says right here at the bottom, follow basic scenario guide number 2 for entering your income and treaty benefits into TaxSlayer. And if we were doing this for real, we would absolutely want to print a copy of this information so that we could see that again another time. But for us, we're going to just jump right here back now to our next step, which is prepare the return. All right, so we would go to we would go to our website. And I'm going to go here, tap. All right, we will log in. So she created her account when she requested her membership. We're creating our account here. And here she is at the member home. We're going to go to step 2. We're going to prepare her return. We've done these first things. We're going to go down, find the basic scenario, which is right here. And we would click here to access the TaxSlayer software. This is what it looks like. And we're also going to, if we go back, she would use scenario guide number 2, which I'm going to pull up right here for us. All right, and the scenario basically walks through preparing a return. Some warnings because TaxSlayer is not smart, right? It will let you put any number anywhere. It's up to you to figure out what the proper numbers are, and that's why we're here to help you. We're right here on this step. We've confirmed our residency. We've checked our treaty benefits. We're in the right scenario. So we are going to click to access the software. And it looks like this. We would say continue. And that is obviously not her real social security number because she isn't a real person, but we're making it up. So for our purposes, we'll use that. She is a student. Her address, 200 University Avenue, zip code 55455, Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right. And so we will enter full year resident of this state. All right. We will check if these things are true, but there are a couple we don't want to put a yes in. And none of these things apply to Lisa. We're not going to say yes to any of those. We are going to just continue. All right, and now a very important one. Lisa is a non-resident alien. She is, in fact, a single non-resident alien. If you click the wrong button, you may get an option of list that doesn't have non-resident alien. And the guide walks you through resetting that. But we are not going to do that. We're going to go straight towards single and continue on. She does not have any children, so there are no dependents that we need to put in. She does not have an identity protection PIN, so we continue on. Yes, let's do it. We aren't going to add anything here. We're going to say, I don't know which forms. They've obviously changed that. We're going to go here. All right, so at this point, if we needed to, we could save and exit. Up until this point, we have not been in, we haven't created enough information to be able to exit. But at this point, we can. And we're going to start by entering her personal information. So we would click on her basic information. We would go to this 1040 schedule OI. And this is the general process. So our guides basically walk you through every step, general information, and then we're going to fill this out. Come along, little TaxSlayer. All right, she is an individual. Her country of citizenship is China. Her country of tax residency. So it is not the United States, remember. If she was a United States tax resident, then she would be filing a different return. Her country of tax residency is China. She is going to use either not listed. She has a non-immigrant status visa, and it is an F1. She's never had a green card. She's never been a citizen, never changed her visa. Here is where we use that information from the Am I a Non-Resident Alien tool. So she was here for 365 days in 2021, 270, and then I wrote 142 for 2019. She did file a tax return last year. Remember, she filed a 2020 1040 NR. And she doesn't have any of these other things. She's not ever filed a return for a trust or anything like that. So we continue on. If she wanted, she could have her refund mailed to her home address in another country. This might be very useful if she was graduating and leaving, but because she's not, she is going to continue on, leave these blank, and we continue. All right, dates entered during the US in the first year. All right, for this one, so we have to enter the first day that she was present in the US during 2021, which was the first day of 2021. But she never left, and that's all we do. And we continue. If she'd come in and gone out, we would add additional days, but for her, for this year, we don't need to add anything else. And we'll continue on. All right. We're back at the main page. Now we're going to go to the federal section. We're going to go to miscellaneous forms. And this alien exempt for medical conditions or other reasons. So this is that form 8843. And some of that information is already filled out for us. So we don't have to enter everything again, right? We already have that she's on an F1 visa, but we do have to put the first date that she ever entered with a F visa, which was 8/8/2019. She's not changed. Her current visa status is still F1. She got a passport from China. That's where her passport is from. And her passport number is made up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then again from our Am I a non-resident alien tool? The number of days that she can exclude is 365. You can see here where that information is coming from. All right, now because she's a student, she fills out part number 3. And this is where we enter the information about the University of Minnesota. This is not the real phone number for the University of Minnesota, and this is not the real address. I'm just putting this in for brevity's sake. So for here, the director's name, so you would put normally the director of your academic program or the contact information for your visa. So for our purposes, that's going to be Tracy. But for your own tax return, it's going to probably be a different name or no. All right. So were you here for more than 5 years? Nope, she was not. Did she try to become a permanent resident? No, she did not. Did she hold a visa during any of these years? Not for those first ones, but she did hold a visa in 2019. It was an F1. She did not change. Then she again held a visa in 2020. It was an F1. There she goes. All right. And we're back to here. We can continue. We will scroll down and continue again. Okay. Lisa is not married, so we do not need to enter any spouse information. If she was, and her spouse had an SSN or ITIN, we would enter that information here. If her spouse did not have one, we would skip this section and not enter any spouse information. We're going to jump over that, and we're going to enter her W-2 information now. Remember, she got 2 income documents, a W-2 and a 1042S. So we go to a federal section, we're already there. We go to income, and we click on W-2. So when we do this, we are basically going to be typing in whatever is on your W-2. So whatever the information is, that's what you're going to put in here. It is completely okay if the address is different on your W-2 than where you live now. Totally fine. Just put whatever is on your W-2. You want to make sure those numbers match exactly. So for us, we are going to do the University of Minnesota. Again, not a real address, but close enough for our purposes. All right, and then she had $8,400 of wages and $840 of tax withheld. There was nothing on her Social Security or Medicare boxes. These boxes right back here were blank, so we're going to leave those blank here. We'll go back into our TaxSlayer. All right, so those are blank. Those are all blank. There was nothing in for any of these. There was something for the state, right? It was Minnesota. State number was 8029894. This is basically the equivalent of a Social Security number, but for the state of Minnesota. 8,400 were the wages, 449 was the tax withheld. And there is the W-2. She doesn't have any other W-2s, so we can just click continue. And we're here. All right, entering wage income reported on a 1042S, which she did have, so we're going to enter this. We go to payments and estimates, foreign persons reported income. So this is the form 1042S. And then once again, you're going to enter the information as it was provided on the W-2 or the 1042S form. All right, and I remember what these things are, so I can kind of go through them quickly without looking. Her income code was 20, compensation during studying and training. If she had a scholarship, it would have been code 16. If she was a teacher or a researcher, she would have code 19. For her, it was 20. Her gross income was 5,000. That is all she has. You need to put this one in here, and then we'll let us continue. All right, all of those. And then we continue because we don't need to edit it and there's no other forms. We're back at the main page. So we have to now enter our treaty exemption for the wage income. We want our benefits match, which benefits do match. We did that little test. So the numbers here aren't any different, but those benefits match. This is an example for, again, a teacher whose benefits match. So we go to basic information. We go to the schedule OI. Now we're going to do this income exempt from tax. All right, the country is China. The treaty article is 20C, which was on her right here at the top. It was her treaty article 20C. That's where that came from. The number of months claimed on prior tax returns, 12, because she filed last year. And the number of exempt income amount was $5,000. All right, and we'll show the summary and we continue. And we continue again. All right, we're back to the main page. So now we have entered her wage income and her treaty benefits for wages. If she had a scholarship, she would go through this next section, but we don't. So we are going to skip over it. This is all entering scholarship information, more scholarship stuff, more scholarship stuff. All right. State income tax payments made during 2021. So if you remember, we said that Lisa filed a tax return last year and she did not get a refund in Minnesota. She actually had to pay an extra $107 for her Minnesota return, which is actually very common. Due to recent changes in Minnesota tax law, it's kind of 2 years ago, people now commonly have to pay a little bit of Minnesota tax. The good news is that she doesn't have to, she can take a deduction for that. And so we're going to walk through that. So income tax is paid, and it was made during calendar year 2021. All right, if you filed last year, this is where you would look on your tax return to see what that number is. All right, so we would go to deductions under the federal, and then deductions. All right, itemized deductions. Taxes you paid. Enter the amount, which was 107. All right, and then we continue. And continue again. And continue again. And one more time. Here we go to continue. And we are back to the main page. All right, we did not get a state tax refund, so we can skip this section right here. And that finishes her federal return. We get to move on to the Minnesota tax return. We click on the state section. And the great thing about TaxSlayer is that Minnesota is super fast and easy. We will click on Minnesota and continue. We will say a resident. All right, so if you did not work in a different state, if you only worked in Minnesota, you are going to just say resident here. If you do work in another state, please stop. You're going to go to the Working in Minnesota in Another State guide and follow those instructions to complete your return. But if you only worked in Minnesota, you will go ahead and select resident, even if your technical Minnesota tax residency is non-resident, because that is all Minnesota income, you're going to enter resident here because you're going to be taxed like a resident. All right. So in this section, so you can choose to donate to the campaign fund. We recommend that people choose to not contribute simply because Federal Election Commission law says that non-foreign nationals should not contribute to any elections or interfere or provide money for them. So we think it is the kind of safest way to go to not make any contributions there, but it is your choice. And with that, you're basically done. Do you have to change anything? All right. If this is your first time filing a return, or if you moved since you filed last one, you should say yes. Otherwise, you can say no. And we'll say that Miss Lisa did not move, so she says no. And just like that, her state is done. We say continue. And this is it. We're exiting Minnesota return and we're done. And that prepares Lisa's return. So I am now going to open up the guide. Give me 2 seconds for filing. So I'm not going to actually file this return for her, of course, because this is not a, probably is somebody's number, but it's not Lisa's number because she is made up. So, but we are going to look at the first steps and what it would take to e-file her return. Okay, which is right here. So Lisa has done her work. She's ready to e-file. She's hoping that she can e-file and get our money back faster. And here we go. All right, a reminder. Okay, so if you're going to file, you will need numbers from your last year's return. You will need your adjusted gross income. This is where to file it on your return. If you filed with us, you should have a copy of your returns from last year. We gave you instructions to save that, and this is why. If you do not have a copy, there are other ways you can get this. You can request a transcript. You can also sign on to your IRS account and be able to access that information as well. If you cannot do that, you can request a copy by mail. You have to either call or you can go online to request it. It will get sent to the mailing address IRS has for you. This will take a while. So if you can't find your old copy, please do that now because it will be a rush to get it in time before you need to file. If you are getting a refund or making a payment, you can do that electronically as well. So we so strongly recommend doing direct deposit. The IRS processing of returns has been slower due to COVID. So if you move between now and when that check shows up, the good news is that a bank account doesn't move, right? It's always going to be there, and the money comes to you faster. If you do owe tax, you can also pay either by check, by credit or debit card, or an electronic withdrawal from a checking or savings account. And you can schedule it if you do an e-file, so that it'll be taken out on April 18th, like the very last day, right? Why give them the money early? So if you are going to file by paper, you do have to mail a check in, or you can go online and make a payment as well. All right, so you're going to log into your account. We've already done that. We are right here. We'll click on the state, basically update it and continue, which we've already done. If there are errors, which you might see, this is your time to fix those because otherwise it will not let you file. If you are married and your spouse doesn't have a social security number or item, this is where you will get the error messages about your Minnesota return. You can still e-file your federal, but you have to do your paper return. Minnesota is quite efficient at processing paper returns though, so you won't see a huge delay if you have to file a Minnesota return by paper. The IRS though is longer in terms of the timing. Okay, so we are basically at the tax return summary. We would print, so we would go here, we would print all. This is going to let us save a PDF copy of your return. Please do that, right? We're going to need those numbers for next year's e-filing numbers. Okay, excuse me. All right, if everything looks good, we're going to continue. Okay, always fun and exciting. All right, don't miss out. Continue. We can still say no thanks. We don't have to do that. It's an option, so it's your choice if you want to or not. Either way will work. It is going to think and calculate. All right, so it says that I have to verify my account. So give me check your email, click on the link. I will do that. So this is simply because I am creating this account renew. It doesn't want to let me do it until I verify this. For you, hopefully you have been in and out and you've already done this a few times. Yes, you must verify before you can e-file. Verify. All right. Thank you for doing that. Let's try this again. Let's see if it will like me this time. Account is verified. Woohoo! Off we go. All right. Yes, I am done. I am ready to e-file. Let's do it. All right. So we are getting a federal refund. That is happy news. Let's choose how we're going to get our federal refund. All right. We will do direct deposit. How do we want to pay our state tax or debt? So we owe Minnesota. We owe $3. Lovely. So we are going to do direct debit, right? We're not going to try to mail checks in and all that sort of stuff. We're going to do that all as one thing. Products and services. All right. That right now shows 0, right? How do we want to pay fees? Our fees are 0. It should always be 0 for you. So if you have anything else, if you have a number there, that is definitely a problem. And please contact us at taxassistance.com, NRVTAP.com, and we can help figure out where things went strange for you. All right. We did the federal, we did the state. Let's catch up. All right. If you get a property tax refund, it's going to ask you those same things. Again, we always say direct deposit. Continue and continue. Okay. Do we want to invest our refund? We will say no. We would just like cash back. Do we want it into a single bank account? We'll say yes. We just want it in one bank account. Bank account is test bank. Account type is a checking account. We're going to make up the numbers. All right. You would, of course, put your real numbers in there. Please, please, please definitely double check those numbers, because it's not impossible to get your money back if it gets deposited into somebody else's account, but it is hard and it takes a long time. So please double check those numbers before you put them in. All right, and it will show that here's our bank account and we can continue. All right, where do we want our Minnesota money to come out of? We will have it come out of that same bank account. We will say that we want it to be $3. We're going to pay the full amount. If you can't pay that full amount, if it is more money than you can pay as much of it as you can, because that will reduce the interest and penalties that the Minnesota will charge or the IRS will charge. If you can't, if you want to, you can try to also request a payment plan if it's a large amount of money and you want to pay over time. That is an option as well. There is a fee for that also, though. All right, so for this, we are going to select the last date. We're going to say 4/18/2022 is going to be when we pay the $3. All right. This is kind of going through about different information if you have to make payments. All right, you should be 0. We're going to do our bank account. All right. Okay, for your ID, if you want to, you can provide this information. You can even include a passport that was not issued by the United States of America. This is an extra step that's trying to prevent identity theft. So for ease of purposes, we're going to just say, I don't wish to provide and move on. For this one, this is where we need that number. I'm going to say, yes, I have my return. We say that we filed the 1040 NR return. It's going to tell us what was our number from last year. I'm going to say 1845. Again, this is all fake, so this is going to be your real number. They do check this. So if this number doesn't match, you will get rejected on e-filing. We'll continue on. Say, are you really sure? Make sure that's right. Again, you're going to put a 5-digit PIN. So you can use whatever 5 digits you want. I'm going to use her zip code because that's an easy number. All right, we are almost ready to go. This would be the button. I am not going to click that button. So I am going to stop and I am going to go back. But if this was real, this would be the point where we would click to sign and we would click to file. And I think there are like one last thing to say, file now. Congratulations, your return has been filed. All right, and then after it's filed, you can come back in and you'll see the status of it. It'll say sent or it'll say accepted. Well, once you get that accepted notice, that means that your return has been filed with the tax authorities and you are done with taxes for the year. Usually that federal return, you'll get the message back within 10 to 30 minutes. Sometimes it can take up to a day, but usually it's a lot faster than that. For the state return, they don't send that one until the federal has been accepted. So that usually takes 1 to 2 days to get the accepted notice on that one. If your return gets rejected, they will give you a code and a message that will probably be almost incomprehensible. But if you get something like that, try emailing us the code and the message at taxassistance@nrvtap.com. We can try to help you fix that. So we've already gone through a couple of those this year, and we'll help everybody if they are having problems, because e-filing, if possible, is by far the best way to go. And that walks us through doing her return. So we are going to save and log out for our pretend Lisa, because we're not going to actually file that return, and I'll delete it later. And that takes us through here. Close our returns and we will go back to our return. All right, so we jumped through the filing, and I did sort of skip a step here. I did actually skip the, are there any special circumstances for Lisa? All right, look at these, would any of these things apply? You know, and the only one that might possibly apply is the property tax refund, right? Because she did get a certificate of rent paid. She did live in a vote. She didn't work in another state. She didn't have any investment transactions. Her benefits matched, so we don't need to worry about those. She didn't do any charitable contributions, student loans, dependents, or 401k distribution. So property tax refund, is Lisa going to qualify for that? So if we think about that, so this is from our guide. Remember, she must have been present in Minnesota for at least 183 days. She definitely made that, right? She was here for the entire year. She must have rented, owned, occupied, or maintained an abode for some part of the year, and that abode must have been subject to property tax. And she met that one as well. However, she must not be a dependent, right? She must have provided over half of her own support. So when we did her treaty benefits, we saw her total income was $13,400. And if we go back, we remember that we know that somewhere on the order of her total expenses for the year were $42,000, shall we say, $40,000. Let's just round to make it really easy now. All right, so she earned 13. Her total that she had to spend was 40. So she received 27 some other place, right? Now, if it came from loans, then that would count for providing her own support, and that would make her eligible for the property tax refund. But in our case, Lisa did not have any loans, right? Her family provided that additional money, and so she is not going to be eligible for the property tax refund. And this, again, is a very common situation that most of our students and scholars are not eligible for the property tax refund. All right, so we walked through e-filing your return. It's just that simple. If you can't e-file, if it turns out that you can't, we also have a guide out there for paper filing. It walks you through like what copies to print and where they all should go. But hopefully the vast majority of you will be able to e-file. And we are done. So that basically walks through preparing a return. So we've gone through the tax overview. We've talked about federal tax and Minnesota tax. We've talked about the services that we offer at our clinic, and you've seen how we use those services. So what if Lisa gets stuck, right? What if she wants some additional help? So on the member sites, on our web pages, you can see this is the main member This is like kind of the guide at the top. So we have a section about making an appointment for one of our clinics. So we have 19 clinics that we've got scheduled this year. The vast majority of our in-person clinics are going to be here at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. We will be in Carlson, room L114 is where we are going to be. We have appointments available for all of our clinics right now. None of them are full yet. However, we also reserve walk-in space. So if you can't get an appointment, we strongly encourage you to come to one of our clinics anyway as a walk-in. Historically, we've seen about 20% no-shows for people not coming for their appointments. So that is a really good way to get some help if you can't get an appointment. You can also walk into an appointment even if you've attended another clinic. So we won't give you an appointment, but you can just show up anyway and we will be able to most likely help you. If you are watching this and you are from Duluth, please sign up for our clinics up there. We will be up there on Saturday, April 2nd. We've got 3 clinics, 12 o'clock, 1:30, and 3. And then no matter where you are in the world, you are welcome to join us at our remote clinics. We don't do walk-ins for remote clinics. You've got to have an appointment, but they will be by Zoom. You can reserve your time and then show up there. About 75% of our volunteers speak multiple languages. So we have volunteers that will speak Mandarin and Korean at almost all of our events. And then we have about 15 other languages that people speak, including one that doesn't actually speak sign language. So if you would like to attend a clinic that has a volunteer that speaks one of those languages, please email us at support@nrvtap.com. We'll let you know what events we are scheduled to have a volunteer that speaks the language you request, and we can kind of help you get an appointment at one of those if there are any appointments available. Looking at available appointments, by the way, so this is our schedule right now. So you can see that we still do have a lot of appointments available. Our first clinic is scheduled for this coming Tuesday, February 15th at 5:45 p.m. I believe is the first start time. If you have your documents, I would strongly encourage you to come to that first clinic, right? We're not gonna be super busy, so you're gonna have a lot of time to talk to volunteers and make sure you get your return done. If you wait until the end of the season, we tend to be very, very busy at that point, and we're pushing it to give everybody the help that they need. So if you come early, you get additional time with our volunteers, and you've got lots of extra time as well in case we find issues and we need to resolve them. Again, we have our office hours. So these are again on our website. Anybody can join. We'll be leaving you in the waiting room, and then we'll let you in to talk to volunteers as we have rooms in our breakout rooms. So please come in to one of these if you want to, but again, it's on demand, so there's no way for us to say how many people will be there and how long you might have to wait. And with that, we are going to move to the final part of our event today. We're going to do a breakout room Q&A.
Hey, Maria, should we ask or answer a couple general questions? Do you have time for maybe 5 minutes of those?
Yeah, if we've got some more general questions, I will be happy to try to answer them.
Okay, some are payroll questions as well. So Blaine, just kind of a heads up. If a student, if a student does work remotely in Minnesota, what company, but the company is in California, which state return should they be doing?
So for working for wages, the wages are sourced based on where you were when you provided the services. So if you were physically in Minnesota working, then it is a Minnesota income.
Thanks. Are wire payments from parents living abroad to pay for living expenses here in Minnesota subject to any taxes?
Nope, that's going to be a gift from your parents. So well done choosing those parents, and you won't have to pay any income tax on it. I'll take that one, sure. Yeah, okay. So
thanks.
Remember, taxes are on a calendar year. So right now we are doing 2021 taxes. So it's all income from January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. So if you started in January 2022, you will not have a W-2 yet. You can't get that document until the entire year has passed and they know all of the money that you've earned that entire year.
Thanks. Does anyone who have a scholarship receive a 1042S?
I'm going to jump in and not even give Blaine a
Okay.
chance to respond.
Blaine.
The answer is
Unmute himself.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah. So the answer to that is no. So most people will. And I would even go as to say like 80% or more. If you get a scholarship or fellowship that might be taxable, that went for something other than tuition and required fees, you will probably get a 1042S, but not everybody does. So we at NRVTAP, we always encourage people to contact payroll, ask ohr@umn.edu, send them an email saying, will I receive a 1042S for my scholarship or fellowship? And they can answer that question for you.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in quick. I can unmute myself now. And so I would wait though until March 24th to contact us, just because those are sent out early March, and then it takes usually, you know, a few days for the post to be delivered. And so if you think that you haven't had one, but you're expecting one, reach out to the OHR contact center on March 24th, and then they can look into it for you.
Good, thanks. What is considered income earned outside of the US?
So it's going to be where you were when you earned that income. So if you went home for the summer to your home country and you had a job while you were there in the home country, that would be income earned outside the United States. If you were here in the US working remotely for a company in your home country, that would be income earned in the United States.
Thanks. What if your country is not listed on the country for tax resident options?
If it is, well, there's no countries listed for tax residency for the MI non-resident alien. If you're looking at the tax benefits for like my treaty benefits,
yeah,
that means that you do not have any treaty benefits, that there is no tax treaty with your country in the US.
Right. Do you help those on F1 visas but not considered resident aliens? I think maybe you mentioned this earlier, but if you don't mind repeating that.
Yep. So we help, you know, essentially if you've got an email that ends in .edu and you are a non-resident alien, then we will help you. And so usually F1 students will be a non-resident alien for their first 5 years they are here in the US. But you can confirm that by using our Am I a Non-Resident Alien tool.
Okay. What if a student works on campus, has applied for a social security number, but doesn't have it yet?
I'm gonna guess that they started work just very recently. Usually, and this is maybe a better question for Blaine.
Yeah, I know that there is a pretty severe backlog in the Social Security Administration assigning numbers. And so I guess I would wait as long as possible before you file to see if you do receive it, as you would want to file with your Social Security number.
Yeah, you know, if you were working in 2021, but you still don't have a Social Security number, I don't think that the U of M is going to be able to provide a W-2 for you, Blaine?
We did.
Okay.
We did provide W-2s.
Okay.
We can't necessarily pick out the ones who don't have Social Security numbers, so they were sent, and then there's just a placeholder in that field. And so if you do receive your Social Security number, you would want to file with that number.
All right, I'm going to turn to my IRS compatriots. Do you have any other recommendations in terms of an individual that is eligible for a Social Security number but just hasn't received it yet and is waiting to file? I think they just have to wait until they get the number, right?
This is David Eckert. Yeah, I mean, we'd want to wait to get the file, but this is a great question that came up here that I'm definitely going to elevate to find some good guidance for you to give the students here, Maria.
Perfect. So what you can do, if you can do that, I'm making a note. We'll put that on our FAQ on the NRVTAP website. W2, no SSN yet. So as we get an update, we will put that out there for people to see.
Sounds good. What about the 1095B form?
So it is a record of your health insurance. Non-resident aliens don't have the same requirements with regards to health insurance. So if you got a 1095B or a 1095C, you do not need to do anything with it. You can just keep it as a paper copy in your files or destroy it.
All right. And how specific should one be for the section days present in the US if we are exempt from residency calculator?
So you should be as specific as you can be. I didn't put it in this list, but if you go to the MIA Treaty Benefits Calculator tool, it does have, or the non-resident alien, if you go here, you can click on your I-94 and you can go get your travel history. So you can enter your passport and name information, and then it'll give you your travel history actually for the past 10 years now, is it? So, and it might not be perfect. It's possible that there's a visit missing, but that's a really good spot to start. And it will give you the exact days. So I would start there and then look at your physical passport if you have any other information that's missing.